So my dad would say to me, Chief, there's 3 kinds of people in this life. People who make things happen, people who watch things happen, and people who sit around doing what? Well, what am? And the funny thing is, you can find these people generally on Facebook. I kid you not. There are people on Facebook, and all they do is post about their business. So what do you think about the election? You can sign up for my workshop, $5.99, right? It's all about their business. There's nothing wrong with that, and I'm not taking a swipe at them. But those are people who make things happen. They're on message, they're on point every single day. Every single Facebook post is about coming to their business. I tried that for a while. I found it to be extremely boring. I got too distracted. So I want to comment on that, I want to comment on that. And every once in a while I comment on something and like 30 seconds later I'm like, I better go take that down. Then you got another group of people who watch things happen. Like they're on Facebook, but they don't comment a whole lot, but every once in a while they do weigh in on an opinion, right? Some of y'all like that. Stalkers. Don't say anything, and then all of a sudden, go get him, Sherman, go get him, Sherman. Or, are you sure you want to say that? But then we have that third category, they're like, what happened? Right? They're literally people waking up today talking about, what news clip about Donald Trump? What you talking about? What y'all talking about? I haven't seen that one yet. Hang in there, you'll see it. You'll hear about it. Or Hillary Clinton. Just be fair, be fair, right? WikiLeaks. I'm sorry, I'm gonna get up on my soapbox now. We got any Julian Assange fans in the room? I mean, what a big dummy. For a month, he was telling people, I'm gonna drop all this information on Hillary Clinton. When was he gonna do it? Tuesday. When did he do it? Last night. There was all kinds of stuff being talked about last night. What Julian Assange dropped on the internet was not it. It got totally washed away by the tsunami. Okay, I'll get off my soapbox now. So, we got 3 kinds of people. Those who make things happen, those who watch things happen, and those sit around going, what happened? I'm convinced that the vast majority of people out there in life and on Facebook are unfortunately in that third category. They don't have a clue what's going on. How could Donald Trump not pay any taxes for 18 years? How could Mitt Romney have $100 million in his retirement account? How is it that the Clintons left the White House $6 million in the hole and they're worth $50 million? Clearly you're not paying attention. In the United States of America, as in here, as in other places you go, there are rules. True? And the rules don't care what you think. Y'all know that, right? Rule don't care what you think. You try driving 80 miles an hour down the street in D.C. where Bill Reddick lives. Sooner or later, the cops will stop you. And they'll say, why are you driving 80 miles an hour in a 35 zone? And you'd be like, I don't believe in speed limits. And the cop be like, I don't care. We have rules for a reason. Whether you agree with them or not, they're still the rules. You still got to pay, and you still have to obey them. Whether you like them or not. Whether they're fair or not. But you see, not every rule is negative. Some are positive. Like we have a rule that says you don't have to pay a nickel more in taxes than you're supposed to. Y'all know that, right? There's nothing in the Constitution that says that you have to pay X amount of money in taxes. In fact, quite the opposite is true. If you arrange your business affairs in such a way that you owe the government nothing and you play by the rules, guess what? You are smart. And I don't care what the politicians say. And listen, we're friends here, right? Yeah. We're not? Okay, I leave now. We're friends here. The door is closed. You can say whatever you want to say on Facebook. But here in this room amongst friends who are here to learn how to do real estate and get wealthy in real estate, yes? It's okay to admit not paying taxes when you do it by the rules is smart. Now I know at 6 p.m. when you get back on Facebook, you'd be like, no, he was supposed to pay right. That's fine. But for the next 3 hours, let's talk about how you get in on that game, all right? Let's talk about how you wake up in the morning going, how do I make money off that? That be okay? So our guest speaker today is going to talk about that very topic. What these rules are that the vast majority of Americans don't even know exist, that allow you to pay nothing legally in taxes. Who's glad they came out here today? Okay. Now, whether or not you actually use the information is up to you. She can give it to you, and it's going to be pretty good. And as a friend of mine says, we've been knowing each other for 10 years now. I can tell you she's the real deal. Her stuff's rock solid. And I know many of her clients who pay little to nothing in taxes because they do what she says to do. But if you listen to the information and you don't take action on it, should you expect you're going to get any benefit? No. So do yourself a favor. No matter what side of the political aisle you happen to fall on, or you're kind of like me, marching up the middle, and every once in a while you lean over to the right, and every once in a while you lean over to the left, just go ahead and suspend the politics and think about, gee, how could my life be different if the tax man wasn't grabbing 50% or 40% of what I make every year? Gee, how could my life be different, especially in my retirement years, if I actually use the rules that are on the books that most people don't know about and built myself up a retirement account, a self-directed IRA with maybe a couple $1 million. Maybe not $100 million like Mitt Romney, but maybe a couple $1 million. And just forget a second or for an hour or two about the politics. I don't care whether you voted for Mitt Romney or you didn't vote for Mitt Romney. I could care less. But if you were not paying attention to the conversation about how he built up a $100 million retirement account, you're an idiot. I mean, you're not smart. And it doesn't matter what your politics is. I used to believe when I was a young kid, forgive me, Lord, forgive me, room, that only Republicans were rich. So, Sherman, you said you weren't going to talk about politics. I'm sorry. But then I started my own business, I started hanging out in D.C. Do you know there's a whole lot of Democrats who are rich too? And do you know there's a whole lot of Democrats who are saying things about the other side and they're doing it too? And vice versa? And I realized something about this Washington, D.C. town a long time ago. Not the D.C. where Bill Reddick lives, right, the real D.C., but the political D.C. People just say anything to get in the paper because it sounds good standing up there for the constituents, but they don't believe half of what they say. Seriously, they don't. Because the very thing they argue that somebody else is doing, they're doing it too. And I'm not going to name any names because I don't want anybody saying, well, Sherman said. I'm just saying, we can't get caught up in the dialogue that swirls around us all the time, 24/7, living inside the Beltway or just outside the Beltway. Politics is sport in this town. And people will stand up there and say, how dare so-and-so do this, this, and this, and this? Doesn't he or she know what they're doing to damage the American people? And then go back home and do the exact same thing. And once you realize that's the game that's being played, you may very well say, well, gee, that's not fair. And I would take you back to what my mama said when I was growing up. Life's not fair. Get over it. And more importantly, what my dad said, which is stop being a person who doesn't have a clue what's going on and become a person that, number one, watches what's happening so that you can get smart yourself and separate the real from the not real, the true from the lies. But number two, go on to become a person who literally makes things happen. That's how that works. So for those of you who say, gee, I'd like to have $100 million or $10 million or even $1 million in my retirement account, don't get hung up in the politics, get hung up on how you do it. And for those of you who say, listen, if it's true the guy didn't pay any taxes for 18 years, forget about the political ramifications. How do I get in on that game? Is there a way that I can get a piece of that? Because I got news for you. He didn't write the rules. He just took advantage of them. You want to know who wrote the rules? The 50 members of the U.S. Senate who haven't said peep. Did you all notice that?